Tes Amud Aleph. The medium lines. Going back a little bit to what we already did last week, and then we're going to go forward. Daf Mem Tes Amud Aleph. It's the middle of the medium lines. The first word is Amar Rabbi Bachona Rabbi Rabbi. So we said that everything in Birchas Hamazon and the third bracha has a triple thing to it. There's three malchus, there's three gemulas, there's three toivas. Everything is hatoiva meitiv, gamlanu gamlenu gmalenu. Everything in the bracha has three things. And then what do we say at the end? In the Harachmans we say that the bracha should be Bakel Mikol Koil, just like Moshe Berech has said, Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Bakel Mikol Koil. Right? So the Gemara says, the Rebbe kocht in the Verbringen, the Verbrot Shanatovshin on Beis, that was the year in the floor is Bakoil. That the Gemara says that there is Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, each one got a bracha. Avram Avinu got a bracha Bakoil. Avram got a bracha Bakoil. And Yitzchak got a bracha Mikoil. And Yaakov got a bracha Koil. Yeshlu Koil. So that's what we're saying. That Ken Yevorach Usanu Kolana Yachad bracha Shleima. We should get that bracha Shleima. We should get the bracha of Bakoil Mikoil Koil. Just like Avram Avinu and Yitzchak Avinu and Yaakov Avinu got the bracha of Bakoil Mikoil Koil. That's the full bracha. Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Bakoil Mikoil Koil. So why is Koil the biggest bracha? Pashat. Koil means everything. What's Koil?
Yeah.
Koil is everything. Koil is 50. 50 is the Shad Hanun. That's what we're waiting for Mashiach to come. We'll climb up. We get the Shad Hanun. And Koil is 50. So 50 is all the main Sfiras. Why is that all the main Sfiras? Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hoid. Hey, wait a minute. Where's Yisoid? Where's Yisoid? So that's why we learned the Shabbos, the Maimer, where the Rebbe brings from the Tzemach Tzedek and the Torah that there's two ways to count the Sfiras, the Midos. There's 6, or you could say 5. Why would you say 5? Because really, in a certain sense, Yisoid doesn't stand on its own. Why doesn't Yisoid stand on its own? Because a midah is only if it's meaningful to me. That's the old Yiddish story. The guy, when they went out on a date, they said, "No, what do you think about the girl?" It's fine. And they said, "You didn't notice the hinkedik." I don't care. I don't care. Hunchback. I don't care. She's hard of hearing. I don't care. Every chisan, I don't care. You don't care? I'm not marrying her, so I don't care. So, in order for it to be a midah, I have to care for it. If I care, then I have a midah. If I don't care for it, God is great. But what does that mean to me? So if I connect to it, so then there's a midah. Yisoid is iskash, is the connection. The whole idea of Yisoid is connection. Adam Yodas Chavis through the midah of Yisoid. Yisoid is connection. Like the Alter Rebbe says, Nigeris ha-koidesh. You can learn with a boy, you can learn with a child, talking to the wall. But that father loves the child, and he starts learning with the child. He puts some neshama into it, and the child learns. Why? Because there's a Yisoid. There's a Yisoid. There's a Yisoid. Because there's a Yisoid, there's a connection. Husband and wife, there's Yisoid. In order to have a midah, there has to be Yisoid is the glue that makes the midah happen. I care about this chesed, therefore I have an ava to it. I care about, I care therefore it's tiferes, netzach, or hoid. Therefore, in a certain way of counting, there's a certain way of counting the sfiras where the midos are only 5. So, and the full thing of 5 is 50. So Koil Koil is the shleimus of everything. That's why Koil is the shleimus. And Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, they had Bakel, Mikol, Koil. Tzemach Tzedek has a beautiful shtickle on this, shtickle toid on this. Say in the morning, the first thing that we do after Pesukah is Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam, Yoitzer Oir, Uvoyre Choshech, Oiseh Shalom. But that's not what it says in the pasuk. The Gemara says, well, how can we change a pasuk? The pasuk says, Uvoyre Ra. So the Gemara answers Lishna Ma'al. We want to say nice things. It's morning davening. We're trying to say nice things.
I want to start the day good.
Yeah, I want to start the day good. What kind of answer is this? The Navi said one thing, and we're changing it a little, modify it a little bit. It should sound good. Pasuk says, Oiseh Shalom Avoidei. It's Boidei Ra. What do you mean Boidei Sakoil? So says it's a Tzedek. Yeah, because what was the purpose for Ra? The purpose for the Ra is to turn the Ra into Toiv. So what's an amazing thing? Chazal say, Kol HaGodol Mechavedu, Yitzhar Godol Mechavedu. If he's bigger, then his Yetzirah is big. So he says, you know, there was a famous bank robber, and they asked him, why does he rob the banks? He said, that's where the cash is, that's where the money is. Yeah, exactly. So the shaila is, where does the Yetzirah go? He's not going to go. He's going to go to a place where there's Kesev, Azov, and Avonim Toivus and Magolias. He likes to go to the person that has. So Godel Mechaveda Yitzhar Godel. That's why he puts up a bigger fight. The Eibishter wants it to be that way because he wants that the Yidden that are tzaddikim are going to win the fight, and there is Toiv, the Malach HaChaim, Toiv Me'oid, Malach HaMavis. Because when the Yidden overpower the Malach HaMavis and they turn them around, so they take the Ra from the Malach HaMavis becomes more powerful than anything else. So the Yetzer Toiv is Toiv. But when you turn around the Yetzer Hora, it's Toiv Miyoid. It's not regular Toiv. So therefore... But this is really, because when he really wrestles the Yetzer Hora and he turns him around and he uses him for good, so really it's with incredible force. Because the Yetzer Hora is very powerful. So when he turns the Yetzer Hora around and he brings him for his service, for the service of Hashem, so then it's Toiv Miyoid. It's not regular Toiv. So it says it's a Tzedek. That's a pshat. We're not changing the pasuk. We're explaining the pasuk. Oiseh Shalom Avoidei Ra. The Eibishter made Ra, but for what reason? We should take the Ra and turn it over to Bakel Mikol Koil. We should turn it into Koil. What's Koil? Koil is the ultimate of Gedusha. 50 Sharim, Chamishim, 50, which is the Shleimus of the Midas, which is the idea of La'asad Lavai. We have to turn it around. So that's our job. The Eibishter made Oiseh Shalom Avoidei Ra. He made the Yetzer Hora. We have to take that Yetzer Hora and turn around and make him into Koil. So that's why we say by benching that the Broch is Bakel Mikol Koil, just like Avram Avinu. That says that after he won the 10 Nisyonos, the Chazal say that Avram Shveirech as Avram Bakoil, Omer Reb Levi sheishlitoi beyitzroi. He made him a shalat of his Yetzer Hora. After the 10 Nisyonos, so no more. Then till then, the Yetzer Hora was now was the other way around. He had the Yetzer Hora in his reshus. He shlitoi beyitzroi. The Yetzer Hora was he wasn't running from the Yetzer Hora anymore. Now he was the dag of a tzaddik in the Tanya. We spoke about it the Shabbos. That Koivish is Yitzray. That's a tzaddik. That he takes the Yetzer, he shlita b'Yitzray. He's the boss of the Yetzer Hora. The Yetzer Hora is in his service. The Yetzer Hora comes to service him.
Don't they say, because he got a son, Bang is 52.
Bas.
Bakol
is
is 52.
It says that he had a daughter named Bakol.
He had a daughter named Bakol, yeah.
But don't they say that Bakol is Gematria 52 is Bang? That he got Yitzchak.
I learned the other pshat. The Chazal say that.
But it doesn't say that somewhere in the Gemara or something.
And this says about the Bas.
It
says that Bas.
Bakol is Gematria 52.
Bakol shaloi eloi Bas.
Bang is 52.
Weiß ich nicht.
maybe.
So Tzedek has a pshat to answer your question, but let's. Okay. So anyway, so let's summarize. So that's the Indian of the third or the fourth bracha. In this bracha, we say everything in a triple lashon: 3 malchias, 3 gemulas, 3 toivas, and also koil. We say bakel mikel koil, kamosha beirachas avasena Abraham Yitzchak Yaakov bakel mikel koil, because that's the ultimate bracha. Let's read it quickly in the Gemara.
Where are we?
We're in the middle of Daf Mem Tes Amud Aleph and the medium lines.
I'm a Rabbi. Okay, great.
Amar Rabbi Bar Bachon Rabbi Yochanan. Atayva Meitiv Tzricha Malchus. That this bracha Atayva Meitiv, you have to mention Malchus. What are you telling me? I know it's obvious. Kol bracha she'ein bo Malchus lishma bracha. Any bracha that doesn't have Shem Malchus is not a bracha. Amar Rabbi Yochanan Chodazim. That we learned it earlier. Daf Mem. That has to have Shem Malchus. Otherwise, it's not a bracha. Amar Reb Zeira Loimesh Tzricha Shnei Malchus. You need to mention twice Malchus. Once for the fourth bracha and once for the third bracha of benching. So Gemara Yochi in the Boit Los, we should need 3 times. Because because also the second and third bracha and benching both don't have a beginning with Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam. Ela Birchas Haaretz my time. Why do we not start the second bracha and the third bracha with Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam? Why do we not have Melech? Because you don't need, it's a choo-choo train. Whenever you have the front car, and that's Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam, and all the other ones go. As long as you start the first one with Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam, all the other ones go. So the third bracha is also a bracha smuch l'chaverta. The first bracha starts Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam Hazonas Olam. So you have Melech Olam, and then the second is Noid L'cha without a beginning, and the third is Rachim without a beginning because it's bracha smucha. Why did I feel about Nishlam na Meloi Baya? We don't need. Elo, the answer is because I did Gomar Malchus Beis David. In the third bracha we mention Malchus Beis David. Lav Oirach Ada de Lomra Malchus Shemaim. So we talk about Malchusa de Ada. We're talking about a kingdom in the earth. And we shouldn't mention Malchusa de Rakia, the Avish's kingdom. But says the Rabbeinu Yochanan and the Rosh that in the third bracha it doesn't make sense to mention Malchus Shemaim. Why? Because you don't mix 2 things. You don't compare Malchus Shemaim to Malchus Haaretz. You don't compare the 2 things in the same bracha. Therefore, we mention Malchus Beis David, so it behooves us to mention also Malchus Shemaim, but we leave that to the next bracha.
So the reason why the fourth bracha has Shem Malchus is because it's separate from the first 3, which is the Raisa.
Right. The reason why the fourth bracha has, because it's a separate bracha. There's no choo-choo. It's a totally different cheshbon. But why do we mention twice Malchus? Because we already said Malchus in the third bracha is Malchus Beis David. It's not nice to talk about David the Melech, his Malchus and not the Avish's Malchus. So therefore, we want to talk the Avish's Malchus. The Papa Amar Hochik Amar Tzricha Shtei Malchus Levar Medidah. No, we really need 2 Malchus besides the on Malchus. We need to have a triple Malchus in the third bracha. So, and according to this, the Gemara doesn't explain why we need a triple Malchus. And that's the way we paskin, but the Tur brings the Medrash, that the Medrash says that we want to have a triple bracha. Everything is a Shalosh Gemulas, Shalosh Hatoivas, Shalosh Malchias, everything is 3 in the bracha of Hatoiva Meitiv. Why? Pashtus, because that's the triple bracha, the Zechus of Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov, so everything is triple. 3 Gemulas, 3 Toivas, 3 Malchas, Bakel Mekol Koil, everything is 3. That's the way we paskin. That's the way it's minik of Klal Yisrael.
That's what we just said now with Shavuot is Amat Lisa.
Amat Lisa, right. Everything is triple. Exactly. Okay, let's continue. Yosef, Reb Zeida, Achoyed, Reb Gidl. Reb Zeida was sitting behind Reb Gidl. Yosef, Reb Gidl, commanded Reb Huna. Reb Gidl was sitting... Again, before we continue. So we have here 2 reasons why we mention extra Malchias in the last bracha. One is because we want to covet Shemayim, So therefore we mentioned 2 malchias. The other opinions mentioned 3 malchias. There's a special thing in the last bracha of Atoiva Meitiv, everything is triple. 3 Gmulas, 3 Atoivas, 3 malchias, and that's the idea of Bakel Mikol Koil. Zog the Gemara, it's the last 3 lines of the medium lines. So Reb Zayda is sitting behind Reb Gidl. We also Reb Gidl Kamed Reb Huna. Reb Huna is sitting, and basically the students are sitting in front of him, and Reb Gidl is sitting right in front of him. Yosef Reb Gidl is saying, we learned that Tov L'Hizkar Shel Shabbos, if he forgot and a Shabbos and he didn't say the mention of Shabbos in benching. He says, Baruch Shenosan Shabbos L'Manuch L'Am Yisrael Ba'ava L'Ois L'Bris Baruch Mekadosh Shabbos. Omar Lei, he said, Man Omra, who said this? He said, the Rav said it. Hoda Yosef, he continued, and he sat there in Kalmar and he said, Tov L'Hizkar Shel Yom Tov. He didn't mention Yom Tov in the benching. He's supposed to say Yalav Yavi. He didn't say it. Omer, he says, Baruch Shenosan Yom Tov L'Am Yisrael L'Sosan U'L'Simcha L'Zikaron. Baruch Mekadosh Yisrael V'Azmanim. Omer L'man Omer, he said, who said this? He said, Rav. Okay. Hodav Yosef, Omer, he said, third thing. Tov L'Hizkar Rosh Chodesh. He didn't say Rosh Chodesh. Omer, he says, Baruch Shenosan Rosh Chodoshim L'Am Yisrael L'Zikaron. He said he Amar ba Simcha Eloi. I don't remember if he said Simcha, and I also don't remember Chasam by Eloi Chasam by. You have to make a Chasim or not. I also don't remember the day that Rabbi said it on himself or he said it from his Rebbe. So we leave with the suffix on this one, and the point we pass can alter the Shulchan Aruch, like the Shulchan Aruch, the Mechaber, that it's a suffix, so we don't say Baruch Atah Hashem on this. So that's what you have. If you have a bencher. And you just right. So if you forgot, let's say you say Baruch Shenosan Shabbosos. If you forgot, you say Baruch Shenosan Shabbosos L'Mnuch L'Am Yisrael Ba'Avol Oiz Bris. And if it was Yom Tov, you forgot the Yalav Yavi, you say Baruch Shenosan Yom Tovim. And the Alter Rebbe holds like the shittas that you have to say which Yom Tov, it's Yom Chagamatzes or whatever it is. And if it's Rosh Chodesh, then you say Baruch Atah Hashem Rosh Chodesh L'Am Yisrael L'Zikaron. But you don't finish off by saying Baruch Atah Hashem Mekadosh Yisrael V'Azmanim. You just start with the Baruch and you don't finish with the Baruch. No Chatima. Okay. Let's continue the Gemara. Rav Gidl Bar Menyuna Avikoyim Kamed Rav Nachman. Rav Gidl Bar Menyuna was standing in front of Rav Nachman. Torah Rav Nachman made a mistake in benching. So we don't know which mistake it was. It was Shabbos and he didn't say Shabbos. It was Yom Tov, he didn't say Yom Tov. It was some type of mistake. He went to the beginning of the benching. Omar Lei, so the student asked, my time, Ovid Mar Hochi, why did the master do this? Omar Lei, so Rav Nachman answered, the Omar Rav Shila said, Nemarav, Tov, Choyz Al Rosh. If you make a mistake, you gotta go over, you gotta go back. So he asked him, Omar Rav Huna, Omar Rav, Tov, Baruch Shenosan. If you make a mistake, there's a band-aid. You say Baruch Shenosan. Omar Lei Lavit Marlo, we learned about this. Omar Rav Menashe, Bar Tachlif Omar Rav, Lo Shona Lo Shloit Posach Batoy V'Ameitiv. That if he didn't start the next bracha Batoy V'Ameitiv. Posach Batoy V'Ameitiv, once you start Batoy V'Ameitiv, it's over. Choyz Al Rosh, it's all over. So really, it's a very small window of opportunity to say this whole Asher Nosan Shabbos, Asher Nosan Yom Tovim, all this whole chart is only between Amen and Baruch, because as soon as you say Baruch, next bracha, finished. So it's only if you remember, you forgot, you say Baruch V'Racham Shalom Amen. Oi, didn't say Yalav Yavai. Didn't say Tzei, so then you could say one of these things. The Alter Rebbe says if you don't, most people don't remember all these words. Who remembers by heart all these words? So the truth is, if you really don't know what to, if you have to start benching again, there's nothing to do. But if you remember even slightly, you don't have to say all the words exactly. As long as you say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam. You say something about Shabbos, and they say Baruch Atah Hashem Mekadosh Shabbos. But most people will not even remember this. I mean, if you're not sitting with a bencher, Now forget about it. You have to start the benching again.
But you can say Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. You don't remember all these things. Aaron, you said Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed and Yotze.
No.
You
What's it?
can't deliberately go into a suffering.
What's Baruch Shem
No,
Kevod
again.
Malchuto?
No.
To-
What he finished benching, or he said Bani V'Nakom Shalom Amen, and he remembered that he didn't say that say or Ya'alav Yovin. So if he has a, I'm saying, if he has a siddur or a bencher, he just looks inside and he knows what to say. But if he doesn't have a bencher, he probably won't remember what to say. Because whatever we learned tonight in the Gemara, no one's going to remember it in a week or 2 weeks, exactly the wording. So I'm saying, so then you just start the benching all over
It's
again.
better to bench for the Siddur.
It's better to bench with a siddur. It's always better to bench with a siddur. Because the Baal Shem Tov said, Boya la teva.
If
you wanna be protected-
whatever the Rebbe says,
Right.
always open the siddur.
And the Rebbe always opened the siddur, even if he said Boya in the Foshes.
That's right.
Yeah?
He would open the
yeah.
siddur, and he would say Boya in the Foshes for the
But
siddur. We didn't see,
I
but
never
Boya in the
saw him
Foshes.
take a pit
But Boya in the Foshes, you'd see. You would open up the siddur and read it inside. So it's a good idea to always use a siddur, like the Baal Shem Tov said, Boya la teva. If you go into the words of the tefillah, then you're protected.
What if he said Baruch Atah for Atah Veit, and then you realize, can you say Lamdein Chukecha?
Once you start,
Because there's a sheet in Mishnah Berurah that if you said one of the brachas that was when I say you made a post, you could say Lamdein Chukecha.
so that's Baruch Atu Hashem, Lamdein Chukecha.
Right.
So once you say Elkeinu Melech
No,
Haolam,
I didn't say that. Baruch Atah Hashem. And you can say Lamdein Chukecha. Because it says here only if you start out Atah Veit, you can't go. You have to go back to the beginning. So I'm just wondering if you realized after Hashem's name, whether you could say Lamdein Chukecha and then say the
that could
supplement.
be a
Why
hefsek.
not? Like, you can't do that
That's
with
a
every
hefsek.
bracha?
That's a whole different
I don't think so.
pasuk that
I
you
mean, Kiva
say.
Eger says you can. The Bishop will read down the Kiva Eger and Shemona Esrei.
Says it, okay.
Yeah, and some others disagree.
It's a good question. So the Emma says it's a very good question. There is a machloikis rishonim. This whole thing about lamdeinu chokecha. Is this a? Is it a no? Is it a band-aid, or is it like? Is it really like? What does it do?
Right.
Is it that it
Does away with the new brachas.
it's good? You just
Right.
Moshe
Say
Rabbeinu.
the pasuk, so now
Yeah.
it wasn't a hefsek.
Or you already said some things. You don't want to chas v'sholem. So you're
Right.
putting a band-aid.
Right.
So
That doesn't let you not go back. No, you say the pasuk because you said Hashem's name, but you have to go back.
right. So that's the thing. If this was since benching is a deraisa, I would say that it's a dova poshut. According to the
That's
opinion
we're
that
talking now about the we're talking not just about Shabbos. That's not the mention Shabbos.
but the din is by Shema that a person, for example, didn't say it with kavana, so he has to go over and say the whole Shema over again. So the Alter Rebbe asks, well, wait a second, the only part of Shema is Shema. So he said no, because once Chazal said we want you to do it the right way. So if you were machaven that one part, okay, fine. So we're not machaven the rest. But once you got to go over, so you have to. Similar here. Torah says to bench. Chazal said how you should bench, and then on Shabbos and Yom Tov you have to bench on Shabbos and Yom Tov. So if you didn't mention Shabbos and Yom Tov, I'm not sure that this is a Rabbanan question. The Rabbanan is saying that this
Right.
is the way to say. I'm not sure that this is stam. It's like a brocha rishona. The din is if you have a suffix, a brocha rishona, whatever. It's a Rabbanan. You don't do it. But by benching, we say if a person has a suffix, it's to bench over again. That I said.
First three, right? Or everything.
Not everything. Because they already benches. You benches everything.
Okay. But why should we hear the pasuk? Why should that make it?
Because Chazal said that on Shabbos and Yom Tov,
I
this is the way to
understand.
bench.
Right, but I'm saying, but but it's not known if this is really a hefsek or not. I'm saying Lamdein Chukecha, Lav Dafki Yomavsek.
Yeah, but
So
Chazal,
it's a steak in a way. It's a steak.
even in a regular case, Chazal told you to bench the whole benching again, right? And also Toiva Meitiv, and you said Hashem's name again. In a regular case, I
Because they
forgot
have-
to say
right.
Yalav Yovik, right?
Right. They have
So-
the right. They have the
so-
right to do it.
Right. So
But I'm
they
saying over
said
here, mehechetesi that since you have this, it's like this fake.
This is the sveik goes the other way. Really, it's like this. The pshat is that as when you say a new word after amen, it's not the pshat like this. The pshat is that when you say amen, it's as if you're still in the middle of the third bracha. That's what the Alter Rebbe holds. And as if you say baruch, as soon as you say baruch, it's like you took 3 steps. You went away from benching. So it could be, everyone would agree, even if you say that Lavdeinu Chokecha is a perfect bullet and nothing, but it's you walked away from the previous bracha.
And that's the one side.
That's
The side that says it's not. No, that it's.
So I'm saying there's a lot of tzdodim here. The bottom line is that
What do we say? What is milk about it? That if you would start it, you can't say the word together.
Pashas not. The Alter Rebbe says if you just said the word baruch.
Morris says that.
No, but the Gemara doesn't specify. The Gemara says he started at Toiva Meitiv.
Yeah.
So you could say that at Toiva Meitiv means he said Baruch Atah Hashem Lakeinu Chilum Atah.
and not even Baruch.
Right, but when the Alter Rebbe says, he says, emphasizes. If you just said the word Baruch, the Alter Rebbe says. If you just said, the Alter Rebbe says. If you just said the word Baruch.
It's already.
If you said the word Baruch, it's all over. So if it was true that you can have this eight sets to say, the Alter Rebbe would have said it. So with Pashtus, it's not that way.
But maybe he also means just Baruch of the next bracha.
Alter Rebbe says if you say the word Baruch.
Right, but he means Baruch from the next bracha.
Yeah, but if there's an eight set to say Baruch Atah Hashem Laneinu Chokecha, the Alter Rebbe would say, if you say the word Baruch, just say Baruch Atah Hashem Laneinu Chokecha. The Alter Rebbe doesn't say that. The Alter Rebbe says you said the word Baruch, that's it. It's all over.
Then you have to go back to the beginning. Unless he used that baruch for the other thing.
I think the Mishnah was talking also there about the Ritzeh. In other words, if you started the next bracha, can you say Lamdein Fukech and then say Yalav Yoveh? That's where he's talking.
Yeah, but over there you didn't oikerag. Over here, this is all.
I understand what you're saying. It's a good chakira. It's a very good chiluk. Over there, you weren't oikerag because you were in the middle. Over here, once you start the next bracha, so you start, it's over.
Here, these are the words of the Alter Rebbe. V'lim niskar achar shizkol atov ha'meitev, afilu lo yomer al atevus baruch belvad, ein lo takona.
Finish.
So with Pashas, it sounds like that's the answer to your question. Ein lo takona. You said the word baruch. Alter Rebbe knew about the eight set that you could say baruch.
But can't
It's
he
like
use that?
3 times in my life. And each time when I said Baruch Atah, but I remember I said Lamdein Fukech and then I said the bracha.
Can't he use that bracha to say Baruch Mekadosh Yisrael Bazmana? When he starts Baruch and remember,
It's a good question. Similar to
if he just says Baruch, that Mekadosh Yisrael Bazmana.
Yeah, that's
Or because the Kavanah was on Toiv HaMeitiv?
yeah. That's what it sounds like.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
But Mechila, I just want to say, the other day you were saying that the Clare, how it works, is on Baal Shem Kol Machuso, Lolam Vad, but Yosef was talking about Baruch
A lot of things on Kiva Eidah says that we don't hold.
You could be Mechalik.
You're right.
Because when you say Lamdeni Chakachta, you're doing a pasuk, that's Spunish Kazak, you're cool.
You're right.
The other thing is after the fact,
You're right.
you're making like this.
You're right. I'm just saying svaras. I'm just saying Ladina, the Alter Rebbe
He
emphasizes.
said straight out, he
Nisker-
said Baruch, it's finished.
Yeah, so-
That's clear.
Yeah.
He wouldn't
I'm
say
just
that.
saying
Yeah.
svaras lakan, svaras lakan, but I mean he says this. Lamdina, this is what he says.
The maskana, take a siddur and daven with the siddur. You
Yeah.
don't make any mistake.
Right.
It's easier said than done when you have to sleep.
Oh,
Sometimes you have to sleep at 12 o'clock Friday night.
12 sometimes. It's 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's true. The most important thing is if you learn the halachas, then at least you know there's a shaila. Otherwise, you don't even know there's a shaila. Okay, so we're holding Daf Mem Tes on the base. It's about 5 lines from the top. Again, number of Nashim Tachlifa, Marav Lashana Shla Pasuk B'Teva Meitiv, Pasuk B'Teva Meitiv, Chayz L'Arev. You started at Teva Meitiv, that's it. You have to start the benching again. So just to summarize what we had, so we just had a question. What happens what happens if I just said one word? It sounds from the Alter Rebbe, there's no eitzah. Just even if you said the word Baruch.
Go back to the first.
Yeah. And the Alter Rebbe says, because it's similar to after Shemoneh Esrei, if you take already the 3 steps, it's over. You have to say the whole Shemoneh Esrei again. Like, and also by Shemoneh Esrei, if you didn't take the 3 steps and you make a mistake because you didn't say Yala B'Yovai, you just jump back to the Tzei.
Say, yeah.
Because the 3 brachas are like one
What
unit.
is 3 steps? Why are we doing the 3 steps?
Because 3 steps before that, we're standing in front of the king.
So you have to give him a
So, right. So if you made a mistake while you're still standing in front of the king, then you go back and you, to like if we're talking, and then I made a mistake. So I go back to the beginning of the sentence. But if I said good night and you went home and I call you up, so I don't say, you pick up your phone and I'll say, oh, about Hatoiva Meitiv. No, first I say, good evening, this is Hazon. How are you? It's for sure in front of Melech Malcham Malacham HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Once you step away, you don't just fix it. You go back. You say the Rebbeinu Shalom, L'kei Avram, L'kei Yitzchak Yaakov. You give him the shvach. Then you do. When you're standing in front of him and you made a mistake, you just go back to the previous sentence. In benching, we say it's the same thing. When you say B'nai Racham Shalom Amen, it's as if you're still in the middle of standing in front of the king. So if you made a mistake, you go back to one sentence. But once you start the new thing, it's over. Yeah, what does the Mishnah Berurah say? This guy Baruch Ata Hashem. Oh, you see? For the Mishnah Berurah, you're right.
He brings it down from the Elio.
He said that
and the Bahag.
Yeah. But the Alter Rebbe is not that way.
He says this, even though the Chayil Nechoilik, he says the Ikka Chayodam and the Bahag and the
Very good. Yeah.
He says even Boinei V'Racham Av Yerushalayim. If you said Baruch Atah Hashem Boinei, you can say Lamdein Chikach. That's
and go save it safe.
Yeah. Tell him.
Okay, no, it's different.
And you started the word. You didn't even. It's not even the same whole puzzle. As long as you weren't Messiah, Boinei V'Racham Yerushalayim Amen, you can go back.
One second. He's talking about in Boinei V'Racham or
No. But he mentions
He She's Chalatoiva Meitiv. Yeah, you're right. Is that Toiva Meitiv?
No, but he says even if you say Bonei Barachim of Yerushalayim Amen.
But it's clear that the Alter Rebbe doesn't.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Listen, it couldn't be a bad question if the Mishnah Berurah holds that you have to do it one way.
Right. Yeah.
But,
I mean, wonder who was
Avo Posel, but Meitiv Chazel Reish. Okay. Omer Vidi Barov and Omer Amram. Omer Nachman Mishmul. Tovel Hizkel Sherish Chodesh Betfila. He made a mistake, and there was the middle of the tefillah. He didn't say Reish Chodesh. Machzir Noisa. He has to go back. But by Bichas Hamazon, you don't have to say it again. Omer Leirav and Leirav Amram. Mashnat Tefillah, Mashnat Brochos Hamazon. What's the difference one from the other? Omer Lei Afla Didikashili. I also had this question. Otila Rav Nachman. I asked Rav Nachman. Omer Li, and he said to me, Minei the Mashmuel Loishemi Eli from Shmuel. I didn't hear Pshat. Elanechaz Yanan. Let's think ourselves as far as Tefillah. The Choyvi Machzir Noise. Tefillah, he must daven. So if he did it the wrong way, he has to do it again. Bichas Mazayna di Boy Yochel di Boy Lo Yochel. Bichas Hamazon. You can eat. You don't have to eat. So if you didn't bench the right way, Machzir Noise. So the Gemara asks Shabbos and Yom Tov, you must eat. So if you made a mistake of Shabbos and Yom Tov, he has to go back. True, you have to go back. If you made a mistake, you have to go back to the bench. So the Gemara asks the same thing we said before, and answer the same thing. Ravuna said, there's a special bracha. So that's if you didn't start a Teiva Meitiv. Once you start a Teiva Meitiv, you have to go back. So therefore, that's the difference between. That's why on a Shchodesh. So the Shchodesh by Tefillah, you must have Tefillah. You can't not have daven today. So today I'm not in the mood of davening. You have to daven. So if you didn't do it right, you got to go over again. But Birchas Hamazon, you don't have to eat bread. So you don't have to eat bread. So therefore,
With Shabbos, you do have to.
oh, but so the Gemara says, but Shabbos Yom Tov, you do have to eat bread. Shabbos Yom Tov, you do have to eat
go
bread.
back.
So therefore, you do have to go back on Shabbos Yom Tov. So therefore, the bottom line is, on Shabbos Yom Tov, you must eat bread. So therefore, you must have Birchas Hamazon. So if you miss it out, so either you fix it before you say Baruch Haba Tov HaMeitiv with the band-aid of Baruch Shenosan, or if you already started the next bracha, it's all over. You got to bench all over again. The only exception is Rosh Chodesh, because Rosh Chodesh you don't have to eat bread. The only exception is Rosh Chodesh. Tomorrow we're going to learn a Peledic thing in the Alter Rebbe, that the Alter Rebbe brings this to halacha, and then there's a little footnote in the bottom that the Maril says Shemati mimenu b'soif yomav shechazer boy v'lo hitzrich lechel keshir kvi yesuda sherigam b'bichas mein gimel yesh ba askora shel kedushas hayoim. A Peledic thing that the Alter Rebbe, the brother said, that the Alter Rebbe writes that Shabbos v'Yom Tov you're obligated to eat bread. You're obligated to eat bread. Without bread, you're not mekayim the mitzvahs. The 14 meals in Yom Tov on Pesach, and the 14 meals on Sukkot, and the 2 meals on Chutz La'aretz, the 4 meals on Shavuos must be pas. You must have pas. And then the Alter Rebbe says, what if you're not eating pas, if you're eating cake? So you have to eat the amount of Kvi Yesuda, which is, say, 4 beitzim, if it's yesava, if you're sure he's 4 beitzim, and if he's loisava, if he's 6 beitzim, or chatzias, or whatever. So then, and on that, the Maril writes that the Alter Rebbe Soif Yomav was choizer, which is a very, very big, has a lot of implications, because according to this, if you could be Mekayim the Sud of Shabbos with having cake, so then every Lubavitcher is having Shalashudas not realizing he's even eating 3 meals of Shabbos, because you have a Kiddush, and by the Kiddush you're eating cake. So there is the Alter Rebbe Paskins that the 3 meals, Machloikis, they have to be in time. By night, 1 meal. Before Chatzos, 2nd meal. After Mincha Gedoyla, 3rd meal. But who comes home from Beis Menachem Mendel before Mincha Gedoyla? You don't even make Kiddush before Mincha Gedoyla. So
it's
if
not even a Suda.
so if this was if Taka we'll paskin this way, if we paskin this way, so
in the morning should be ready as soon.
no, but that will leave aside.
Depends how much cake.
But they didn't have Kiddush, but Makom Suda, Shiloh Kiddush.
That's another.
But here you had Kiddush and you had cake. If Taka like the Alter Rebbe, so there is a whole Shiloh, but there's a 3-4 Shilohs in the Shiloh's Trivus of the Tzemach Tzedek and 3-4 in the Dibur Nehemiah. So there's a whole pilpul about this, but theoretically this would. So Lubavitchers don't even realize. Everyone's saying you're not Shalashudas. By default, you have a Kiddush in shul, you eat cake. You already had Shalashudas. The Suda Shlishis is really not the Suda Shlishis. It's the 4th Suda. According to this. Now, if you need to have pas, however, so then that Tzemach Tzedek has a question. You have to eat it according to the order, because the 3rd meal doesn't have to be pas. The 3rd meal could be also minitar gima, which could be fruits and cake for sure is good. So the question is, someone that before the Alter Rebbe says that so if I ate a meal of bread and then a meal of cake and then a meal of bread, can I say I don't have to have Shalashudas now?
Because the middle one was the cake.
Or the Tzemach Tzedek says no, it has to be in the right order. It has to be bread, and the last one, which is Ashlama, not. But according to this, so every Lubavitch is eating Shalashudas.
Even though
When the Maris says Chazam B'Saf Yom, what does it mean? You wrote down different?
No, he says I had a conversation with him.
But the Aloch, he didn't write this. But that could
So
be
we'll have to-
he's holding like this.
Was it on?
But it's not a way to write it.
Okay.
Rabbi,
Even
So we
though
have
we
to-
have his chayvus to
It was on,
bread,
right?
somebody's allergic to bread. What does he do on Yom Tov Shabbos?
he's not allowed to eat
Spell.
bread.
Spell.
Not allowed
Not
to
to
eat
eat any of the 5 grains?
any of the 5 grains. You
So, but
obligated to
Pashtus,
eat it.
no,
So you
no.
eat it
So
with
this
the-
Yom Tov is only for Oinig, not to make a Tainis Cholim. It's even less Tainis Cholim. Why? Because we say that for him fasting is Oinig. A guy who's going to get sick from eating bread, it's not an Oinig to eat bread.
Or even if he doesn't want to eat bread, he just wants a light meal. He's allowed to, isn't he?
Then he's more obliged. If he doesn't want to, then he's obligated
It's like,
to eat
you
it.
know, the Gemara says that the Agrippas had a manager, a servant, the Chosher. He asked Rabbi Eliezer, do I have to eat 3 meals of Shabbat? 'Cause I only eat 1 meal really, because I'm busy. So he started screaming at him, all week you eat extra parpetas, you eat some good snacks here and there
Yeah, you
for
don't
Shabbat. L'kvoitcha, you eat some parpetas, l'kovet koitcha. But a guy who gets sick, taka from eating bread is no oinig.
So, are you? Yeah. So.
They can be.
Bread